I think I'm on the next page. So why are we talking about this today? Modern AI system fail when one model is forced to do everything. So we want one model, which is good, but we want one model to do coding, to be good at medicine, to be good at. So every time we have to choose the best model for the best job, or the best fine-tuned model for the best job, or looking at how these AI systems are benchmarked and based on our interaction with this system, and then choose a particular model based on those type of parameters. So looking at real-world automation, we need reasoning, but at the same time, we also need, if, for example, you are building an AI chatbot, you can actually now make it agentic based on what type of question people are asking. If people are asking basic questions like, hey, how are you? You do not have to use, you don't consume a lot of tokens, and you don't take a lot of time to actually respond to customers' queries. But if you are, for example, then in that sense, or you're trying to create a report, then in that sense, you need a bit of reasoning so that it can get the math correctly. And if you're dealing with vision, you also want the vision parts to be handled in a correct manner. So from single model, instead of just choosing, let's say, one model to say we're going to use Gemini and Flash to do, give an example of, we're trying to make a RAG system that can be used in enterprise. Instead of just using one particular AI agent to do the RAG, to do web searching, and to do all those things, we choose different model based on their capabilities. So with that being said, we just don't get one output from one single model. We select the best model based on tool use and output verifications. Model selection by capabilities. So here, if we're just trying to make, let's say, an AI that is able just to give us real quick answers, we're going to go with something which is fast. For example, Gemini Lite, Flash, and Gemini Flash 3.5. We can actually use those type of model if we want speed. But if we want deep reasoning, we're going to use Gemini 3 Pro to actually go through reasoning to understand vision. And if we want to, for example, generate images, we're going to choose Nano Banana. If we want to do schematic search, we can choose different type of embedding models based on the outputs that we want to get. Then we can also build our own AI models in those agentic systems. So an agent actually calls a customized AI model to do a particular job. So even those type of cases are very possible. Okay, so choosing the right model is crucial for performance, cost, and user experience. As we are talking about, we are just building a chatbot, so we want to get the fastest response, but at the same time, we want it to be the cheapest cost and to improve the user's experience. Some executives are patient. They can wait for a model to reason through 5, even an hour, if they want to get the optimum result. If you're doing research, you don't necessarily require the AI model to give you answers right there. And then you want to do long web searches, to read a lot of articles, to compile information together, maybe put that in the RAG, then it reasons through those information that it gathers online, then create a detailed kind of research. So there you're going to consider higher performance, which means it's going to be a little bit of more cost on that. Yeah, so we can also select model based on their context window and task. So Gemini has a really big context window. So if we wanted to do a lot of reasoning, very complicated web search, very complicated coding tasks, we're going to use Gemini Pro so that it can reason through heavier files and do detailed analysis, go through images, because it has a larger context window. But if we just want an AI to give us summarization, we're going to use maybe a smaller kind of context windows. So at the end of the day, it's not just about plugging in cloud. Where am I going to put the cloud model based on how much I'm paying for tokens? Where am I going to put Gemini model based on the cost and the reasoning and capabilities of this model? Okay, the other criteria for selecting a model is reasoning versus latency trade-offs. So models here, we're going to choose something like Gemini and Flash if we want medium kind of reasoning, but the latency is really, really low and the cost is really, really low. For Gemini 3, it's mostly has to do with the heavier reasoning, but the cost is a bit medium and high. And then we can also fine-tune particular models. Nowadays, we have models like GEMA, MedGEMA, which is a specialized model for medicines. So if we were building, say, a hospital system, we're going to use MedGEMA to do these things. But if on the same hospital side, there's also things to do with accounting, managing resources, there maybe we might choose Gemini and 3. If we just want patients to give simple answers with certain kind of information, we're going to use maybe Gemini Flash. So in one agentic orchestration or workflow, we might use 8 different models in 8 different parts of the agentic system, so that it can give us well thought out plans. Use the smallest model that can solve the task correctly. So we can use the smallest model to solve, the task correctly. We don't always have to use the big fancy models to actually solve a simple task that an agentic system can actually do. When it comes to benchmarking, looking at the strengths and weaknesses, when it comes to Gemini 3, it's really good at multiple step reasoning, planning, and using of tools. Weakness it has is high latency and high token consumption. So we're going to look at what are the pros and cons of choosing a model. When it comes to, for example, Gemini 3, it's really good at real-time conversation. So this is the one you can actually use for customer quotes and maybe giving summaries of reports and stuff like that, even though it's limited in terms of reasoning. So for customized models that we can build or fine-tune one, the strengths can also be in terms of precision, how fast it can be. Even private, we can host GEMA 4, for example, to handle sensitive information in our system where we do not want certain parts of information to be actually processed by other AI vendors. There we can use Gemini 3 to process those type of GEMA 4. And there are many other open source models that we can use. We can use Square and DeepSeek to actually process certain type of information. And these models, again, can be used on the different part of the agentic system. So token usage strategy. Here we have to consider a lot from latency to cost to how we can scale with the given type of model. So the golden rule here is never just to choose a model based on reasoning when or what it can, or can we get a cheap answer, or can we get an answer at a very cheaper cost. So there, this is how we can consider when it comes to token use and how we can better maximize the cost and get the maximum output. So RAG, again, so here we're going to use embedded models, not just any type of model. So again, the choice of choosing a model comes down to what it can actually do best. So why are we actually trying to consider RAG when we're building agentic system? So for example, you want an AI to do a detailed research. So you want it to be storing some of those episodes in maybe a vector database that it can maybe later use to, compile everything and create the detailed file, or you want it to be answering specific questions in specific ways. So you're going to consider retrieve augmentative generation. Okay, when it comes to tool use, this is where agents become really, really powerful. And the bigger the models and the more a model can reason through, it's able to actually solve very complex kind of tasks. I've noticed that when you're using cloud, there it's able to actually browse through a certain problem on the internet, check the documentation, just like the way developers actually work on projects, go through online, read specs, and actually fix a particular issue that's fixed. So here we can also, the agents can also intercommunicate. So it's calling other agent models to communicate with each other. So other tools can also be an ERP system like one that we're putting at Complexity AI, which is able to do things like auditing, going through what people are deleting and creating and doing other things, and also to how there is financial or accounting inconsistencies. So here it's able to query through the database, um, check regulatory issues, and give detailed reports to people. So these are some of just the use cases where agentic can use tools to solve complex tasks. An example here I gave is like analyze it's an invoice, verify, detect if there's any anomaly, summarize, then approve. So so from here, maybe you give it a PDF or an image. The visual model is able to extract information from this kind of image. Then the RAG validates maybe let's say for a given record. Then the domain model predicts anomalies that unknown, and let's say an anomaly detection in a model that maybe you have built custom built. Then once the reasoning is done, it's also passed to Gemini to say the AI model predicted this, but can you also go through this? And then the AI comes up with all this information. Then the information is passed to Flash so that Flash can give the summary and respond to people really, really quickly. Okay. So fine tuning can be really, really powerful when it comes to working out, because sometimes you might add prompts, but you want to build a specialized model to actually give you specific and detailed answers to particular information. For example, you can actually use a model to become just specialized at accounting. Even though other dimensions are removed from the model, you don't necessarily need the AI model to be really, really good at physics to do accounting. You need it to be really good when it comes to doing accounting. So Google really has a good stack flow. You can look at Tunix for fine tuning. Jax is really high performance, especially when you're also trying to fine tune. Jax is really, really fast and good for heavier with fine tuning workflows. Again, you can build your model where you can reduce an existing model so it becomes faster, you control the costs if you already did in your own environment, and again, it gives you a bit of competitive advantage. So some of the models you can continue are things like float classifier, quality inspector, CNN, demand focusing SLMs, which are just long-term, short-term model that are able to track long dependencies in data. So here the agents can use these models as tools, so instead of just using tools like functions, by using other models as tools that these AI agents actually use. I think I talked a bit about using image generation in agentic system. I think I'm going to pass this. Gemini 3 and Gemini Flash. Okay. Gemini 3 and Gemini Flash. Okay, I think right now I can take in some questions.
No, sorry, it is not a question. It's me. Can you
Okay,
possible to switch off your WhatsApp notification that come in screen? I think it would be good if you can. Thank you very much.
okay. Let me try. I don't know how I can do that. Uh,
You can just close the WhatsApp window, like you can quit WhatsApp. That'll
oh, okay.
like, right click the icon in the bar and then just, yeah, right click that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
Yeah, I've closed it. Okay. Sorry for that.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Um, I think I'll continue from architecture summary. Here we can build a multimodal agent. So LLMs can be used for reasoning, where they can also have things like visual perception, of embeddings for memories. Then you have custom models for prediction and tools for action. So all these are orchestrated by intelligence, not by prompt. So LLMs reason through certain information. When they are multimodal, they're able to have visual understanding. Then you have embedded kind of models to access this different type of memory, which can be short term if you are trying to ground a certain conversation, or if you are long term, when you have a kind of a rack system that can be used. I think why are we talking about all these things of selecting multiple agents, thinking around costs of actually building agentic system? Is that one, we're trying to make sure that we have the highest accuracy when the agents are actually doing their work, and we want systems to be faster and efficient when they're doing their work. And two, we want to build systems that can really scale. So in that way, we're thinking more of a business kind of aspect rather than just building something technical, something that can be adopted in enterprise, because it's gonna give good information, and at the same time you have also considered cost, and you have also considered the user experience. It is where the faster system part actually comes in. So I think my final thought is that AI maturity is not just about using Gemini. It's about knowing which actual model to actually use, for which task are we supposed to use this particular model, and what kind of cost will occur while we're using this model, and what kind of latency am I going to face while using this model. So that is engineering, that thinking in terms of systems rather than just putting things together using a fair model so that it can actually do what we intend to do. So I think I've come to the end of our conversation, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn, um, Twitter, and my Medium. All my credentials are here. I think right now I'll take in some few questions, then I'll try to run you through the agents that I kind of built, and the codes are open source on. So I think right now I can take in some questions, then we can maybe walk through um, we can actually walk through the agents that are built using Google ADK, which is Agentic Development Kit. Are there any questions? Okay, there are no questions. I think right now, I can go to GitHub. Yeah, let me check my. Yeah, I think I have it here. Try to run this in feature fields. Okay, so this is the agentic a flow that is on my GitHub. Okay, so on my GitHub. So here, Google automation, multi-agent system, and multi-model use for with RAG. So it already has RAG. So it also does things like it has a weather agent, it has a multi-agent kind of system, and all the prerequisites for setting it up are here, 8.5.3.11, and Google AI Studio API. So I hope everybody is familiar with Google Agent Studio. So you can okay, so here we can get our API key that we can actually use in the project. So this is one of the prerequisites. Yeah, as it's loading, so you can just create key. Yeah, then you can copy it and then come and put it in your environment variable. And then from here, you can clone the ADK file, the ADK agents from here. Maybe I can just test them.
Yeah. Can you share the repo where this code base is that you're using right now?
Yeah, yes, let me share in let me share in the chat. Okay. Okay, I think I've seen a question here before I move on. I have one question. What is the purpose of having an engine when Gemini are two big agents that can do anything? Sorry, just thinking what the people want to use them. So there's Google and ChatGPT are general agentic AI systems. So, for example, if you want to build something for an internal government system, let's say it's able to get information from the finance department, finance part of the government, get taxes part of the government, and let's say also get information, let's say, of citizens. Puts it together, find if there's any fraudulent activity, or you want to put the system in a banking kind of setup where, like I did something like that in the bank, where it's able to go through thousands and thousands of anonymized information, find particular patterns that can make people, like what makes these people use our bank more, or what is leading to default rates, and how can you detect fraudulent activities in those particular transactions. So here, this is where you need to build your customized agentic systems, because ChatGPT and Gemini are generalized. They will do a web search, yes, but are they prompted structurally to access the API of a banking environment? No, banks are not just going to give ChatGPT chat, but their access to their infrastructure. They want certain things to be run internally, and they, for example, militaries, they also want certain information to be processed within their environment. They don't want that information to be leaked out in the public. To any competing AI AI vendor, they want to process everything within house. So that is why, like, the agentic systems have a lot of advantage. And to be honest, having something really, really specialized, for example, if it's just marketing, it's going to beat ChatGPT and Gemini, because Gemini and ChatGPT are more general purpose AI agents, not really specialized agentic systems. So I hope I have answered your questions in that sense. Okay, so I'll just explain a bit about this agentic system. Then from here, I can run this. I can activate my environment, or you can create your environment using this command. So maybe I can do here. Okay, so it's not going to activate, so I'll activate this. Okay, I've created the environment. Then you can pimp install the Google ADK here, but I'm not going to install anything. I've already created this. Then you can add your API. Then from here you can run. Is it ADK? Yeah, ADK run agents. ADK run web. So run web, so means it's going to open in the web. You'll be able to access the UI, set up all kind of environments and stuff like that. Okay. The variable name run web. It help. Sounds correct. No, it's supposed to be ATK run. I've forgotten it's been a while. Okay, so I'm gonna just check help so that I can see the different commands that I can use. So here in the okay, you have to go where the agent is, and then try to run the run option. So from here, there are different types of agents. There's agents here, then there's Kondwani. I was trying to create some agents that are interconnected using the YAM files instead of just creating Python codes. You configure them using the YAM files. Then the multi-agents, for example, conversational agents like this one. So you define Google ADK agents so that you can initialize the agent. So here you're able to initialize the agent by first giving the agent its name, the type of model. So here, this is where you do your selection. So right now, if you're using 2, you can say I want it to use 3. Here, then you give it the detailed description of what it does, what the agent does. So you handle delegating queries to other agents, then instruction, you're a fully friendly agent that is used to dedicate research tasks and information gathering. Then from here, you can actually allow the AI agents to call another agent, so you can add a list of them. If you have other agents here, for example, then you can call them, can call other agents from where they've been initialized. So in a multi-agent folder, there's an agent called research, which is this one, researcher. Then I'm supposed to call it here so that this agent is aware of the different agents that are there. So from here, you can keep on adding different types of agents. Then we have the RAG kind of agents. Here I'm using ChromaDB, which is a vector database. So a vector database, just think of it as a database that stores numbers that are related together. So words are related together, like mother, daughter, child. These are words that are highly related together. So the number relationship between these words are quite similar. So vector database usage through that, and then it gives you it gets that information and use that as part of the context to answer a particular question. So here you can go on Chroma to get the tenant variable, the database URL, and the API key so that it can actually connect to that particular database. Then from here, you can actually code Gemini and Flash 5. I think you can use 3.0. Okay, so it's the same thing here. You need to put 0, and then it's able to query through the vector database and pass the information to Gemini 3 to do query. So basically that's that. Then for okay, so this is basically just the function that I used to do the RAG search. Then this one is the one which is used to add, when you add a document, for example, a PDF, it's able to extract a PDF and then give the text to the model. Then this is the initialization of the model. So I was saying I took what we can have 3, and then it's able to actually run through. So basically that's that. Then there's researcher agent. So this one is able to do a bit of actually process information and stuff like that. The weather API to actually go through weather information and compile all these other things together. Okay. How was I running? Okay. The folder, right? I think I can come to multi-agent. I think this one works. And okay, so I can just say ADK web and it's able to run. Hello, am I still audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. All right. So I've been able to run this using ADK Web. So the web has been exposed here. And oh, I'm also able to open it from my VS Code here. So here I can, so since you have opened this chart from here, you can choose the agents that you want to access. If it's the weather agent or it's the agents. So I'm going to go with the multi agents. Then I can say hello. So you can see that just started a session here and it's doing its processing. Then it should be that I think I didn't talk about adding the API. We add the API key here. Okay, so I removed the API key, so it's not going to process. That's why it's not processing. I removed it because I pushed the code on VS Code, or I pushed the code on GitHub, so I wasn't able to access that. But when I go on my, I will have to order this. Or maybe I'll close it. I think I need to come back to my AD, my Google Studio API key. Okay, maybe I'll copy this one. I'll delete it later. Then I'll put it here. I'll put it there. If I put it there, I should be able to close my terminal. Okay. Yeah, put it so I can clear terminal, then do the key web. It, waiting for it to initialize. I guess we will close this. Okay. Then we'll be able to find the link, and then let's try again. Let's select the model. Let's try this one. Hello. Let's see if it's going to process. All right, so it has responded to say hello. I am a weather information. What kind of city? I'll say Lusaka, because I am in Lusaka, Zambia. So, okay. So you can actually see that it's calling the function or the tool, and then it's executing the tool, and then the tool gives it information. So this is how the agentic thing is coming in. So when you open the weather agent, we can actually see here. So it's just daily data, of course. Right now it's a bit code, and I'll say it is 5 degrees, not really 5, maybe 15. So it's not really querying through an API, but you can see from here that in this function, you're able to pass a city. And then once you pass the city, so for example, if I pass Lusaka here, it's able to call this, it's able to actually get the time zone for Lusaka, which is just been added automatically. But if you are using a weather API, you can pass a city, then also pass things like the API key that you have already initialized. Then it's able to go through to go on the internet and do these other things. Okay. Where is this thing opening from? I think I should just open it from the browser, but it's fine here so that you can be diagnosing these things together. Then when I open the multi agent, for example, let me try to say hello and see its response. Okay, so this one is no breaking. And then you try this one, also say hello to this one. So this one is also saying new function. I think certain thing changed after to this. And then okay. Can diagnose why it's saying what it is saying. So saying I do not have an identity. Oh, okay. The chroma has an error because I didn't add the, sorry for that. I didn't add the API key and the chroma database URL, but you can get an account on Chroma. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. Key. Are we seeing what I'm doing? We see what I'm doing. Okay. I have a question here. When multiple users try to use our generated AI agent at the same time, sometimes it crashes functions and sometimes it's one response to new response and full response to other responses. How can we tackle this multi? Okay, so you need to add things like checkpoints. So checkpoints are just short term memory. So here you give the agent kind of conversational memory so that it can actually remember which user it's talking to. So most of the time you have to create kind of a thread that you can store maybe in your database as well, so that the conversation can continue from there if you're chatting to the same user, so that it keeps that context with the user. And then maybe on the function side, you can consider doing async, using async functions, using Python, something async function, so that you can do function concurrently, or worst case scenario, try to use threading. We're able to do parallel function calling. So these are some of the solutions on how you can actually work around those kind of things. So checkpointing, and then you also store also long-term information in a RAG system, like in the same Chroma. You can also store information. You can actually store both short-term and long-term if you want to, so that the AI is always aware of the information that you're giving it. So Chroma, it's you can start for free on the cloud. I can log in with my Google. Okay, is that a hand?
Yes, it's
Okay.
me. Actually, we have a dedicated QA question session. Okay, after finish the session, then we will hear from the speaker. Okay, so whatever you have the question, keep it. Okay, we will able to ask into the session. Thank you very much.
All right, sure. Okay, I'll continue logging in on Chroma. I already created this. Oh, I just created a new database. Okay. So from here you can create a tenant. Okay, so let me just create kind of a new database. So call it I'll just say GDG. Okay, I create a database GDG. Then create integrate API. Okay, so the tenant is this one, so you can get this and paste it here on the tenant part. Then the database is GTG. Then the API key, you can create it from here. Okay, so the API has already been copied, and you can paste the API key there. No, this one is my this is my API. So here, and then okay, so here is my API key. I can paste here. What's happening? Yeah. Okay, great. Pasted. Let's get the tenants. Oops. Then I can put it there. Okay, so you can terminate this and say ATK over. Then run again. Okay, this part is for the Google search, but we're not going to do that. Maybe in this database, I can create a collection code. Again. Okay. So, okay. Being in multiple agents, and I can say hello. You can also attach, but I haven't configured the one for attaching. I don't know what is it saying. Information to what information tonight. Okay, the tenants and database. Like what is the issue? Still having the same issue. Okay, I think there's something wrong with the Chroma. Up to return. Okay, line 1. Okay. Like services. Okay, I just have to diagnose this or use AI to help me diagnose what the problem is. Maybe we can fix this thing together. See AI tell us. I'm gonna use Gemini. Those pilots. Time. Let's diagnose. Okay. Okay. Flash. Okay, let's see what to reason through. Let's see what error. The error is actually coming from the Chroma parts, Chroma DB. Okay. I think the Kondwani part is another way of configuring agentic systems. I think it's part on the article, if I remember correctly. Okay. Um, so I have unauthorized access to this, but I copied the right things. Maybe I have to do it. Same credentials are not right. I see the issue. So, yeah, it could be the same thing. So I don't know if we try this. Let's try this one. See how it will be the same. Mm. Mm. Copy. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Giving me the same thing over and over. I do not know why. Uh, still giving me the same. I do not know what I'm doing wrong. Guess I'm doing control. 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 Maybe let me just do this. Oh, it's giving me the same API. But somehow these things are not working. Okay. So why is it showing this type of it when I put it here? Okay, so let's here the channel. Let's try it again. So this can also cancel this. Let's try to open this again. And let's say hello. Okay, same issue. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. But I think once you just copy the API keys, this thing is supposed to work. Anyways, I have to really sit down and start looking at what is really happening. Maybe it's the libraries or something. But yeah, this is how the thing is supposed to work hand in hand. So I think the conversational, maybe kind of the agent, maybe I can maybe do this, but the problem is that it's not going to it's not gonna work. I'll do this, then I'll remove conversational agent. I'll remain with just a conversational agent and try to cancel. Then I do ATK work again. So I'll just remove the rags one because it's the one which is causing the issue. But I can add other ones here, like researcher, make the agentic system. This is just the basic layout. Maybe I'll say hello, see process type. Okay, still errors. Same permission denied. Blah 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 blah. Oh, still calling the chroma part window. Okay, maybe even the composition part as be check this one. It does. No, it doesn't. So, I think the information is lashed. But I think basically we get the gist of what I'm trying to do. I can keep on problem solving and try to fix this, but I think we'll run out of time. I think anytime I can take in questions so that we can call it the. All right. I can take in questions now, then call it a day. I don't know if everything is okay.